As soon as the application is ready over on App Store Connect, we will be able to navigate back to App Center and set continuous delivery for our iOS application, just as we just did for Android as well. So here in the iOS application, I will, just as I did for Android, have to navigate over to Distribute, navigate over to the stores, and connect the store. Of course, in this case, we're going to see App Store instead of the Play Store, and in here we're going to have to sign in with our Apple developer account. It is likely that you're already going to see your account listed for when we allowed App Center to manage the registered devices for our test builds. If you don't, you can add it from here. And after selecting it and clicking on Connect, you will simply have to assign the application that you have already set up directly from App Store Connect. So you see here that I have connected to my Apple account. I see my own team, and in here you're going to be able to find in the list your application, just as I see my Redbooks application here listed. All I have to do now then is assign. And that's it. This is going to be assigned here on App Center. Now I will be able to use this application to set up some continuous delivery. Now, as you can see, I have received this small error message. If it is the case that you receive this error message as well, there is something else that you have to perform. And that is to create an application-specific password directly with Apple so App Center can use it. So let's go ahead and do that. We will have to navigate over to our Apple ID portal, which you can find over on appleid.apple.com. This is only required, by the way, if you have two-factor authentication enabled. In this case, you will have to, as I said, generate a password that only App Center will be able to use. So we'll just sign in with my Apple credentials, and as you can see, indeed, I have some two-factor authentication enabled. So if you see this every time or most of the times you're trying to log into your Apple credentials, it is because you have two-factor authentication enabled. You will have to do this then. As soon as you are in over on security, you're going to have to generate an app-specific password. So here just click on Generate Password, enter the name for this particular application. In my case, it's just going to be App Center, and click on Create. This password right here is going to be the one that you have to use over on App Center. So just copy it and click on Done. Now you can navigate back to App Center, and we're going to have to navigate over to our organization list. And over on your profile, click on Account Settings. Here on Developer Accounts, you're going to find your Apple account. You have to click on the ellipsis here to the right and select to update the app-specific password. And paste that password that you've just copied. And click on Update. There you go. Now you should be able to navigate back to that iOS application, over to Distribute, over to Stores, connect the store, select App Store Connect, of course, and select your application just as we saw before. Click on Assign, and this time the application should be correctly assigned here on App Center. There we go. And also, as you can see, we're going to be presented with options similar to Android. A production, which is the one that we're going to be using. We're already distributing to testers, so this is the one that makes sense to configure. But also some test flight options, so other users could install the application without it being published in the App Store. But what we want is already to publish to the App Store. So just as we did with Android, we will have to go over to Build and configure our master branch. So over here on master, I'm going to configure this to include some continuous delivery. First, I am going to set the configuration to be release. I am also going to change the build type to be device. As you may remember, as soon as we change this to device, we will need to sign the build. By the way, I will set to automatically increment the build number through build ID, and in here I will have to upload the provisioning profile and the P12 certificate. Now the P12 certificate is the one that we had generated earlier. We've already generated it before, and we will have to pass the password that we set for these P12 certificates. However, the provisioning profile is not the one that we have uploaded to App Center earlier. It's the one that we generated for App Store distribution that allowed us to send our application over to App Store Connect. So in here, you might remember how I created a couple of provisioning profiles. I created this one, the one that we find right here called Redbooks PP, that I used to distribute through the test branch. But I also eventually created this other one right here, the one that is called Redbooks PP _dist, the one that I created for App Store distribution. This is the one that I have to select. Just in case you've forgotten, let me navigate over to developer.apple.com one more time, go over to my account so I can navigate over to certificates, identifiers, and profiles. Here is where I have those profiles. So if I navigate to profiles, I will find both of them, Redbooks PP and Redbooks dist. This one is configured as an App Store provisioning profile. This one was used when we created some continuous delivery for the test branch, so our application could be installed on devices, but not through the App Store. This one is the one that we need right now, since we're going to be distributing to the App Store. So I set that one. As I've said before, I'm also going to test on a real device. And of course, the reason why we are here, we are going to be distributing our builds, enabling continuous delivery to the store, to of course the App Store in production, with some optional nodes. Click on save, and there we go. We have successfully configured continuous delivery for the App Store as well. Now we have continuous delivery for both Android and iOS. So in the next lecture, now that we have the App Store connected, and of course also the Play Store connected here on our Android project, I want to generate a new build that of course should now be, through continuous delivery, be released to the store. And we should see a new release being listed directly from App Center. So in the next lecture, of course, that would mean that we will have to create a new pull request here on GitHub to our master branch.